Hey, Brendan here. Welcome to the channel, and thanks for tuning in. Got a 2025 rookie running back show for you here today. I did the same show back in May. It is now mid-August. NFL preseason games are underway. Our first college football game is this Saturday. Thank God. So football is back, baby. And I'm going to update this. I did this back in mid-May. I'm going to now, like I said, it's mid-August, and I'm going to do this every 2 months leading up to the NFL draft for each position in fantasy: the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. Today, we're going to talk running backs, my top 2025 running backs version 2.0. So I've got a couple guys that have made the list. A couple guys have dropped off. I've had some risers, some fallers, and we're going to go through that. I'm going to kind of go through all the names real quick, kind of show you, where I currently kind of have them ranked. I'm going to be doing tiers, and we'll talk about that. But things have changed, right? Summer scouting. I've been immersed in my all 22 film library, cutting up film on all of the players that we're talking about today. And also on this YouTube channel, I've got several rookie reports with breakdowns of scouting reports, draft capital, also on this channel. So be sure to check that out. If you'd like to support my channel, consider subscribing to my dashboard where you can see all these all 22 film cut-ups that I do of these players. If you'd like to scout players for yourself, it's a great resource. So hit me up. You can see the email at the bottom of the screen. It's only $25 a year. It's like buying me a case of beer. As I say, I always do my best work with a beer in my hand. All right, let's get started to the show. Again, thanks for tuning in, everybody. So just as a reference, last year in 2024, in the 2024 draft, we had 0 running backs taken in the first round. All right, so I think there's potentially 2 backs right now. Quinshon Judkins, 5'11", 210 pounds, coming into a great situation. He's transferred from Ole Miss, going to Ohio State, going to be sharing the backfield with Trevion Henderson, who on my last show back in May was also a tier 1, round 1 prospect for me, and he's now dropped to tier 2. After watching the all 22 film on him, he's got to stay healthy this year. I'm going to need to see a fully healthy Henderson to really maybe put him back up in round 1 consideration. But right now in round 1, okay, is my tier 1 running backs for next year. I've got Quinshon Judkins, 5'10", like I said, 210 pounds, and then Ashton Jeanty, 5'9", 215 pounds. So either one of these guys, I think, have the ability with another productive season, right? That is the caveat. They have to continue to get better. They've got to at least hold the floor where they are in production. Although Quinshon Judkins is going to have to share the backfield with Henderson, but nonetheless, just want to see the traits that we've seen for the last couple years. But Jeanty and Quinshon Judkins, I think, are the ability. Now, there's other guys like Ollie Gordon that have in round 1, and so, we should probably talk about there's no clear one running back in this class right now. We don't have a Bijan Robinson, right? Towards the end of last NFL draft capital season, it was really Jonathan Brooks kind of emerged as that guy. Well, here, man, it could be one of 5 or 6 guys. We have a lot of college football yet to play, right? We got another whole season, but this is my take right now, right before we get started on the season. My records, putting it out there for you guys to see. So anyway, tier 1, round 1, I think we could have Judkins or Jeanty possibly do that. All right. So, and Jeanty jumped from tier 2 to tier 1 since my last show back in May. All right, tier 2, round 2 and 3 in 2024 draft. All right, we had 4 running backs taken. I think we could see 6 to 8 possibly in 2025. Like I said, there's no Bijan Robinson type season where the guy is clearly number 1 even going into the season. So I think there's a lot of depth to the class, and I think day 2 is where we're going to see a good handful of backs, and probably round 4 as well. But moving to the top of my tier 2, this is a big riser for me in this show, my second version of it, and that's Damian Martinez, 6 foot, 232 pounds. He was at Oregon State. He's going to Miami right now, and glad he's moving away from the Pac-12. He's a decent pass catcher out of the backfield, but after watching the all-22 film this summer, I like his size. At 6 foot, 230 pounds, this guy's got some lateral movement. He plays tough, physical, good pad level. Just things I like about, lateral movement and space creation is so important for running backs. Like, you have to be able to create for yourself, right? And how you do that with quick feet, elusiveness and athleticism. And I don't know, he seems, for that size, right, going back to a big back, I think he's got some really good movement skills. So he's at my top of my tier 2 prospects headed to the draft next year. All right. Another riser kind of is Trevor Etienne. Watching the all-22 film on him this summer. 5'9", 213 pounds. The guy, again, has some good quick feet. Is a good lateral mover. 5'9", 213. He's got good size, even though he's on the shorter size, well built. So he's going to Georgia, man. He's going to the SEC. He was already in the SEC at Florida, but anyway, he's going to Georgia. He should get the rock a lot. So I'm really excited excited to see him. I mean, he had some really good wow moments on that Florida tape. Showed some real flashes, and he caught 21 balls out of the backfield, so he's a good receiver. And he's not a name right now in the draft circles and draft community that is really talking about Trevor Etienne. So I don't know. He's higher on my board than most likely. All right, dropping from tier 1 is Trevion Henderson, 5'10", 212 pounds. I watch a lot of film with my podcast co-host Jason DiRienzo, and we just came away underwhelmed with Trevion Henderson's film from this past year. I know he was nicked up a little bit. So again, I'm looking for him, explosive player, but just lacked that physical punch at the end of runs that I like to see from running backs. And he's just got to stay healthy and stay on the field. So probably Ohio State knows that. That's why they brought Judkins in, who's more of a physical downhill runner. I'd like to see them use Henderson out in space a little bit more. He only had 19 receptions last year. Maybe get the ball in his hands. He's a good pass catcher out of the backfield. But anyway, still a top prospect in the NFL draft next year, but just dropped from my tier 1 to tier 2 in this version of the show. Okay, one of my biggest risers. In fact, looking at my board from last filming of this show, Jadon Blue from Texas. All right, he was at my 20th spot in tier 4. He jumps up to tier 2 for me. 6 foot, 200 pounds. I just posted a video on him on this YouTube channel, so go check that out. And then, of course, if you were a Dashboard subscriber, you could have access to the all 22 films that I cut up, for him, and you could watch him. But I came away really impressed. CJ Baxter, if you're not really into college football, another high prospect running back, potential dynasty asset, tore his knee in practice, the other backup tore his Achilles. So this guy is going to get the ball. And I like what I see on film. Good pass catcher out of the backfield, outstanding, although he only had 7 receptions, and he's got no wear and tear on his tires, man. He's had to wait his turn. A lot of good backs have come from Texas. I think Jadon Blue is a running back nobody's talking about in the NFL draft community for next year. And I have a feeling that is going to change big time as we go through the 2024 season. I think he's going to be a name that's going to be in the top 10 of a lot of 2025 running backs next year. All right, Omarion Hampton, really no change. Did a lot of film watching on him. Again, 6 foot, 220 pounds. I want to see from Omarion Hampton. I think he's a solid day 2 pick next year. Good size, physicality. I'd like to see a little better contact balance for his size, but the lateral movement is what I really am looking for. I mean, if there's some space and some gaps, he finds them. But he's not the best lateral mover. And again, I think for running backs, you got to be able to kind of stop on a dime and redirect. But he's got the physicality and the power, and does not shy away from contact. So, he's right now clear day 2 pick in the NFL draft community, and I would have to agree. All right. So Ollie Gordon comes in also, at 6'1", 211 pounds. Now, Ollie Gordon is an RB1 for a lot of NFL guys out there. I just don't see it. I mean, he was really good out of the backfield last year, 33 receptions, so you love that. People love his size, had 6.4 yards a carry, over 1,500 yards rushing the ball. PFF grade's good. Looking at his chart here, 3.77 yards after contact, big physical back. Again, I kind of put him in the same boat with Omarion Hampton as far as footwork, right? So I think he just doesn't have that, really great, lateral movement. And again, I value that kind of highly, as you can probably tell by watching the video. But Ollie Gordon still, I mean, again, we have a whole year of film to watch on these players, but it's good to get names out there, kind of get them in some sort of general order and adjust as we go through the process together, hopefully together. All right, that rounds out my tier 2. Tier 3, rounds 4 and 5. In the 2024 draft, 12 backs were taken. So you can see this is where the bulk of the running backs last year came off the board. Number 1 in my tier here, big riser, is Devin Neal, 5'11", 210 pounds. Coming back for his senior year at Kansas. Thought maybe he was going to go to the NFL draft last year, but decides to come back. Really a great season last year, 1,200 yards, 15 TDs, explosive player. And I expect him to have another solid season at Kansas. I mean, he's not one of the, I think, top elite backs in this class. But again, he could have the ability to rise with another good season. I want to see a little bit more physical play strength from him in 2025 or 2024 season here. Katron Allen, 5'11", 211 pounds. And right behind him is Nick Singleton. Interesting story. Okay, Nick Singleton falls from tier 2 to tier 3 for me. And it's clearly after watching the All-22 film breakdown. Watching both of these guys against Ohio State, Michigan, and it was Ole Miss, right, against three really good competitions. And I came away liking Katron Allen's film better than Singleton. I'm just going to come right out and say it. I mean, Nick Singleton was the higher prospect. I don't think Katron Allen was very far behind in the recruiting services. I mean, he was Penn State really did a good job recruiting running backs that year and got two really good, running backs. But I just like Katron Allen. I think he's just a little bit more creative on the field. I think he's got a little bit better footwork. I mean, Nick Singleton seems to move forward, but there's no wow plays from him, right? I saw more wow plays from Katron Allen, wow plays where you just kind of watch the film and say like, oh, okay, that's what we're looking for. He has that ability. Doesn't show it all the time, but we see it, but I just don't see it with Nick Singleton. Now, they have a new OC at Penn State, and I'm really hoping that he can unlock Singleton and Katron Allen. My son goes to Penn State. It's tough to watch Penn State games sometimes. I mean, all are still learning from the quarterback position, but man, this is the year where hopefully they can open up some holes and we get some really good highlight film from Katron Allen to Nick Singleton, because god damn, last year there was not a lot to like, all right? But anyway, both, again, I think early day 3 guys as we stand right now here in mid-August, all right? Jaden Ott, 6 foot, 200 pounds, going to California for his true junior year. Came out of the gate really strong as a freshman with 46 receptions for 321 yards. Good PFF grades across the board. Had 1,200 yards rushing last year, 11 touchdowns. He did have 3 fumbles, so he's got to hold on to the ball. He's got some vertical speed. One of these guys that can maybe be a little bit of a breakaway guy. I came away a little underwhelmed with his film as far as physicality and his ability to shed contact and yards after contact and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, got another whole season, and he's going to be going into his true junior year. I wouldn't be surprised if Jaden Ott, if he doesn't get the draft capital grade that he's looking for in next year's draft, that he comes back, maybe transfers, goes to another team. Just don't think the NFL cares anymore how young these guys are. Sometimes a little bit more experience gets them a little more well-rounded. Donovan Edwards here in my tier 3 here. 6 foot 1, 210 pounds, really low yards after contact. I've not been a Donovan Edwards fan, but I'll tell you, the spring game, he looked different. Came in, thicker lower half. My big knock on him was his ability. He just kind of folded like a lawn chair at contact. And now we're going to be able to see his vision isn't great. His lateral movement is good. But so big season for him because he's going to get the rock. There's some guys that are going to get the ball, but Michigan's got a turnover from basically the entire team except for Colston Loveland, right? So he has the ability to really be a bell cow. Let's see what he can do. Maybe he really worked on getting a little stronger at the core and lower half where he can move some piles and really be an NFL running back, all right? So next 2 players I want to add are our new additions. Phil Maffa, 6 foot 1, 230 pounds. Watched a little All-22 film on him from Clemson last year, and I kind of like what I see. I mean, he is not going to be a big lateral mover. That's why he's down so far. But man, the guy's got some ability, all right? He had 19 receptions out of the backfield last year. He can be used in the passing game, but he's just a good, tough, physical runner. And if there's a team out there that is just looking for a good complement to maybe a smaller, explosive back in their backfield, I see Phil Maffa possibly being a early day 3 guy next year. So I'm going to be interested. He's coming back, for his senior season. No more Will Shipley. He's now on my Philadelphia Eagles, and there's right now all reports saying that he is going to be fed the rock a lot, so he could have his best productive season of his career this year. Kyle Manangai did a film review on him. Again, go check it out on this YouTube channel. Going to Rutgers, he's coming back for his 4th season, his senior year. Really emerged last year, 1,200 yards, 8 TDs. I think he's a mid, early, maybe round 4 and 5. This is where this tier is, right? So this is where I see him maybe like in the 5th round. Again, a good size running back, big physical, also running back that would be a good complement if they had a much smaller kind of speedy kind of running back. Okay, Jordan James, he also rounds out this tier. Really interested to watch Jordan James from Oregon. He's going into his true junior year. Really flashed last year, averaged 7.1 yards a carry. Bucky Irving now in the NFL. I think this guy is going to get a lot of run this year. 5'10", 205 pounds. He could really have a good season. Not used out of the backfield a lot, but he's a shifty guy, a little undersized. Hope he can add some weight. But I still have him in here. And again, he's going into his true junior year, so there is a chance that he goes back to Oregon maybe for his senior year as well. But I got him here to round out my tier 3 prospects. Tier 4, round 6 or 7. 4 backs were taken in the 2024 draft. I've got 4 guys here. We're going to talk about Taj Brooks, 5'10", 230 pounds. He's going to be a fifth-year player, so I think, again, he was really productive last year. 1,400 yards average, 5.4 yards a carry, good PFF grades across the board, 3.4 yards after contact. Another big physical running back who's going to be a late day 3 guy. Could be an undrafted free agent. Who knows? Raheem Sanders, 6'2", 242. He's coming back for his 4th season as well. Apparently, he lost weight last year. Was a very poor season for him. I think he put on 20 pounds. I think he's back to his running mate or his running back weight rather when he was a sophomore. Hopefully we'll see some of that explosion we saw earlier in his college career, but not somebody I've ever been a fan of, but still a player I think that is on the NFL radar, and a lot of people are thinking he could have a big bounce back season. All right. A big riser that I could be a little low on is Jonah Coleman, 5'9", 225 pounds. He transferred to Washington from Arizona. 5.2 yards after contact. This guy is built really well. I mean, 5'9", 225. He is tough to get down. Average 6.9 yards a carry, 5 TDs. So again, he's going into his 3rd year, transferring to Washington, like I said. But he could be a big riser this year. No one's really talking about him as an NFL draft cap, a 2025 draft prospect right now. But that could change with a good season. All right, go into a program that's a little bit more, in the limelight with Washington than Arizona. So we'll see what Jonah Coleman can do. Sorry, I ran into a bit of technical difficulty. Last guy in my tier 3 prospect, Roman Hemby, 6'2", 202 pounds. Good all-around player from Maryland going back to his senior year. Not many people are talking about Hemby. Still like what I saw watching the film. Really good pass catcher. Caught 37 balls last year out of the backfield for 288 yards. So he's a dual-purpose running back, and that's what we like, right, when we watch these well, we want these players on our Dynasty rosters, right? All right, so 2 guys that missed the cut that were on the cut before was Jam Miller from Alabama going into his true junior season. I think he goes back for his senior year. And DJ Giddens from Kansas State, just not a big fan of his game at the moment, going back for his junior year also at Kansas State. So there you guys got it. That is my update right now for my 2025 running backs. I'm going to be doing these shows every 2 months through the fall as I watch more college football. And so if you play Dynasty, you play Devy, and you're looking for a YouTube channel to get an early look at future draft classes for your Dynasty rookie drafts, man, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.